Carbohydrates are the preferred energy source for our muscles. If you're not eating enough carbohydrates, you're losing out on better lifts and ultimately losing out on crucial gains. Welcome to the video. My name is Trevor Lomax. I'm a registered dietitian who has worked with hundreds of dudes who want to look just like this guy. Look, carbohydrates have been demonized even by bodybuilders and dudes who are just generally swole. And that's partially due to the differences between when you're bulking and when you're cutting, and those influencers just not being clear on what situation they're talking about. And just to be as clear as possible, we're going to be talking about how many carbohydrates you need when you're trying to put on muscle, not when you're trying to get shreddy like jelly. Carbohydrates, like we said before, are the body's preferred energy source for both the muscles and the brain. That means we need a ton of these suckers in order to fuel super high quality lifts. And high quality lifts each session matter because when we're trying to build muscle, we need to push hard. Oftentimes when we don't consume enough carbohydrate, we feel like we're tired and we might need an extra rest day. Other times we feel like we need to reduce the volume or the weight because we're just not feeling as strong today. Getting in adequate carbohydrate every day leads to you getting in those high quality lifts every time you walk into the iron dungeon. Additionally, making sure that we get in enough carbohydrate after our workout is going to ensure that we are properly recovering. This is important, so listen up. Your body cannot properly use protein to restore the broken down muscle if you don't have enough carbohydrate to be able to restore the energy stores that you used up during your lift. If you didn't get that part, go back and listen to it again. So many people get this wrong, just crushing a whey isolate or concentrate protein shake after the workout, thinking that they're making these super mega ultra gains. Okay, so hopefully by now I've really brainwashed you into understanding that having carbohydrates before and after your workout, as well as throughout the day, is important to fuel, recover, and get super juicy jacked. Before we break down how much carbohydrate you need, if you've learned something so far, smash that like button so I feel all warm and fuzzy inside. All right, break out your bro Bible. Let's dive in. In the day, you need a ton of carbohydrates when you're in a gain phase. First, you need to know your calorie needs through a day. Usually I use an online calculator like this one to estimate this number, and then I add 10 to 15% in order to get this process rolling. If you've already been in a gain phase before watching this video, you probably already have a grasp on what number that is you need to achieve. Next, I calculate protein needs, which you can figure out from the video linked in the card above. Third, determine your fat intake, which should end up being between 20 and 35% of your total daily calories. We'll talk more in depth about fat in a future video. Last, distribute the rest of your calories to carbohydrates. This should end up being between 45 and 55% of your total daily calories, and for most people watching this video, upwards of 300 grams. Now, before you get your panties in a wad about how high this number could be for you, just think about getting your carbohydrates in like this. Take that total number of carbohydrates that you just calculated and divide them by the number of meals and snacks that you can realistically get in one single day, and that's how many grams of carbohydrates you should aim for at each Munch Fest. Most of these carbohydrates should come from whole grains, rice, potatoes, legumes such as beans, fruits, and any other carbohydrate source that has a ton of nutrients in it. Remember, some of these carbohydrates need to be saved for before your workout so that you can make sure that you have adequate carbohydrates in your bloodstream ready to go for fuel. There's multiple ways to determine what your pre-workout carbohydrates should look like, but we're just going to go through two of the easiest ways. The first is most simple, 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates 30 to 45 minutes before you actually start lifting. The second gives you a little bit more time, or is a good way to use if your lift ends up falling after one of your bigger meals. Eat 1 gram of carbohydrate per kilogram of body weight. When you're going with the second method, make sure that you're eating at least an hour before you start your lift, or else you're not going to feel so good. If you're eating pretty close to your lift, like these last two methods I talked about, then you may want to go for something a little bit more simple like granola bars or a Gatorade, or if you're really buying into the fitness culture, then you want to do something like a Rice Krispie treat or a Pop-Tart. But if you're eating carbohydrates like this all the time, then you may want to check out this video that I made last week about why choosing nutritious sources of food is really important for your gains. Anyway, subscribe for more gains and smash that like button because we're boys. Thanks for watching. See you soon.